color. The continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
Today, on what was to have been Martin Peyton's wedding day, young Norman Harrington has a desperate mission. He's determined to raise bail for Eddie Jacks, his wife's father, who is about to be formally charged with suspicion of murder in connection with the death of Peyton's fiancée, Adrian Van Leyden.
Come in, son.
Dad, I have to ask a favor of you, a big one.
What is it?
Money.
Well, that's the kind of favor I enjoy doing, Norman. Say when.
That's not going to be enough. I might need maybe 10 or 20,000.
What happened?
Well, Eddie Jacks got arrested for murder.
Well, yes, I heard, but what's that got to do with it?
Rita saw the police bring him in. Well, Dr. Rossi thinks that she might lose the baby, and I don't think he's telling me everything. I just want to make sure that she gets home from the hospital okay.
She will, Norman. But the money, is there an operation or something?
No, I promised Rita I'd get Eddie out.
Eddie? Bail.
Yeah, I just talked to Stephen, and he said it could go as high as 200,000. You know, with Eddie's record and all. Well, they need 10% down.
Yes, I know. 10% down on a lifetime association with a man who may have committed murder.
Well, I'm supposed to have a lifetime association with my wife, and I don't want anything to happen to her.
She's in good hands, Norman.
She's in my hands, and I made a promise to her.
Take it easy, son. Well, that's a lot of money.
Too much for Rita?
Too much for Eddie Jacks.
I didn't put a price tag on him, Dad. I just married the girl I love.
Norman.
I wish I'd never seen that man. I wish the last time they locked him up, they would have thrown away the key, but they didn't. He's here. And Rita's not going to be all right until she knows that he's out of jail.
Have you seen him since he was brought in?
Just now.
How's he taking it?
The answer, Dad. Yes or no.
A few months ago, you and Rod were ready to slap me on the pillory. Because you were afraid I'd given some kind of aid to Jack Chandler.
Do you want me on my knees?
I want you to slow down and think about what you're doing.
I haven't got time. You came all the way back from Europe when Rod needed help.
All right, Norman. I'll put up enough to get bail for Rita's father on one condition, that you make sure that he comes to my office as soon as he's released.
I want him to see Rita first so she'll know he's out. Then I'll have him come to your office. Why?
I want to make it clear to him that he owes me an obligation and I expect it to be paid in full.
He'll be there.
Good. Sunday's my day to catch up on correspondence, but I'll expect you to barge right in. I'll phone Stephen.
He's at the courthouse. Eddie's going to be arraigned in a few minutes. Dad?
For a man without much time, you spent a good deal of it just standing around.
Thank you.
Mr. Jacks, the complaint heretofore read to you alleges the unlawful taking of a human life with malice aforethought. How do you plead?
My client wishes to enter a plea of not guilty, Judge Chester.
Very well. Then you are hereby ordered to appear at a preliminary hearing to determine whether or not there is sufficient evidence to hold you over for trial. Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir.
When can we get to this matter?
The 14th, Your Honor, at 9 a.m.
Very good. Has your office any objection to granting bail in this matter, Mr. Carter?
Well, ordinarily, I'd be strongly opposed to the idea, Your Honor, but Mr. Cord has explained the condition of the defendant's daughter, and whatever Your Honor decides is acceptable.
I have given it careful consideration, and in reviewing the prior conviction, I'm not at all sure of the wisdom of allowing bail for this man. Have you impressed upon him the gravity of this charge, Mr. Counselor?
I have, Your Honor.
And he knows the penalty for failing to appear at the hearing?
He does.
Then, in view of the emergency involving the defendant's daughter, and inasmuch as there has been no objection raised by the district attorney's office, bail is hereby set in the amount stated earlier in the record as a minimum consideration.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You will appear before me in my courtroom on the 14th of this month at 9 a.m., Mr. Jacks, and there will be no postponement of this hearing for any reason whatsoever.
I'll be here, sir.
Very well. The arraignment proceedings are dismissed.
Can I see you for a moment, Judge?
Of course, of course.
Thanks.
Thank Norman.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, Stephen. If you tell me the exact amount, I'll take care of Mr. Jack's bail right now.
Well, I underestimated Norman's fundraising ability.
What's the amount?
This time you're too late, grandfather.
What do you mean, Stephen?
Well, Norman was worried that my being locked up might be too tough on Rita. So he asked his old man to go bail for me.
You mean to say Leslie Harrington guaranteed your bail?
Yeah, like I said,
I want to speak to your client alone.
Did Norman ask you to come down here?
I am not on the stand. I want to ask your client a few questions.
Well, you won't be bothered in the corridor. There's nobody around today.
I've been covering the courts for a long time, Steve. That's the first time I've ever seen an attorney give his client a private audience like that.
One of them is trying to pressure the other. Who, I don't know. Why, I don't know. What about, I don't know. But I intend to find out.
Where is that promissory note?
Now listen, Mr. Peyton. We talked a deal. We only talked.
You said you'd deliver Harrington's note to me the moment you were released.
I said I'd give it to you, and I will. When you give me a bank deposit slip that proves my kid has got $50,000 on ice.
But I'll instruct my attorney to deposit it tomorrow.
I'd like to take your word for it, but I learned a long time ago to get it in black and white.
But it's Sunday. I can't make the kind of transaction you're demanding until Monday morning.
I can wait.
I don't intend to.
Oh, so that's why you offered to post bail for me, huh? You figured a little icing on the cake would, what's the word? Compromise me.
I want that note today.
Well, the bank opens at 10 in the morning. I'll look you up a little afternoon.
Where are you going?
To see my daughter.
Why did Leslie Harrington guarantee bail for you?
I didn't ask Les to put out the money. Norman did.
But you sent Norman to him, didn't you?
Will you cool off? I'm not going to cross you.
I imagine you said the same thing to Leslie.
I made a deal with you.
And with Leslie Harrington, too.
I said I'm not going to cross you.
You've said a great many things, and always out of the corner of your mouth. But I'm warning you for the last time. Don't play both ends against the middle.
You're not the Supreme Court, Mr. Peyton. And no matter what you may think, you don't look like any god to me either. So lay off the judgments. Just climb down off that pulpit.
You dare to talk like that to me?
I got mixed up in this whole mess for just one reason. My daughter, she's the only thing I care about, and I'm not going to cross her up again. So if you want to cover your bet, don't do it with a grandstand play like laying out for bail. I've already named my price for that note. Just put it on the line.
Thank you, Mrs. Hewitt.
There should be some paper and a pencil in that little desk there.
There's no need for you to stay.
Well, I really should.
I give you my word, I've never been arrested for burglary, Mrs. Hewitt. I locked the place up tight as a drum when I finished the note.
Look, no, thank you, Mr. Harrington. I wasn't waiting for something like that. I just... Well, leave the door open, and then pull it to when you leave.
Thank you.
Leslie,
was just looking for some notepaper.
Yeah. Saw Mrs. Hewitt leave the room. I was wondering if maybe Eddie was back.
No, he's probably at the hospital.
Oh, he's out of jail.
Yes, I put up bail for him.
You put up the money to get him out?
Yes, Norman asked me to.
And you did?
We're related through Rita. I really didn't have a choice.
Must have been kind of steep.
Well, I thought he'd be back from the hospital. I don't think there's any reason to sit around here waiting for him. I got him out so he could spend some time with Rita. I'll just leave a note.
Oh, no need of that. I'm going to be handy here. If there's anything you want me to tell him for you.
No, it's not that important.
Well, no trouble.
Well, thank you. I'm probably making a big thing out of it. It's just that I want him to understand his obligation.
You're not making a big thing of it, Leslie. It is a big thing, a real big thing.
I'll call him later.